knowledge on HTML and you should have knowledge on CSS. So if you have knowledge on HTML and CSS, easily you will be able to understand today's session, guys. Okay. So today we are going to develop this part. This page we are going to develop. So let's understand how to develop this particular page. So to develop this page, the first thing what we have to do is we have to create the layout. First, we should understand the page layout. We should understand the page layout. So if you know how to create page layout, then you will be able to create all the UI components that are displayed on this page. So first we have to create layout, then we have to create this UI components, and those UI components we have to add in that page. Now to create the layout for this page, you should have knowledge on flex concept of CSS. You should have knowledge on flex concept of CSS. So on the chat, can you guys mention how many of you know flex concept in CSS? How many of you are aware of this concept, guys? Because based on this concept only, we are going to design this page. So I just wanted to take the idea. How many of you know the flex concept in CSS? Like if you know, you can just put the message as yes. If you don't know, just type no. Anybody? Okay, try to respond, guys, so that I can get the idea. Okay, fine. So I think some of you already know the flex concept and maybe some of the people don't know. So let's try to understand flex concept as well while creating this particular page. So how we are going to develop this page means, so now I want to develop this page. So this page, we will divide into two sections. So what we are going to do, let's assume that this is our browser. Let's assume that this is our browser. This is your browser. Okay. Now in this browser, your web page will load. Your web page will load. Now in that web page, we will create one section. We will create one section. Like this, we will create one section. Now for that section, we are going to assign width as 100%. Anyways, by default, the section width will be 100% only. And height, we will try to assign it as a 100 VH. Means we will try to take complete viewport height. So how to create this section? For that, let's create one HTML file. Something called netflix.html. Let's add our basic code, that is doc type, HTML tag, head section, and body section. Let's add one title. And here I will say Netflix landing page. Now save it, load this part. The moment I load, you will see here this white color part as your web page. And we call this white color part as a viewport. Okay. Now in this viewport, I want to take one section. So how to take section? Inside the body, we can take one section tag. We can take one section tag. Now to this section tag, I will assign some ID. I will assign some ID. Like I will say it is a main section. Or instead of, I will say it like a root section. I will give the name as a root section. Now to this section, I want to apply some CSS. On this section, I want to apply some CSS. For that, let's create one CSS file. Netflix.css. Now let's link this CSS file with our HTML document. For that, I will be using link tag, and simply here I will be providing the file name of our CSS. Now let's select this section using this ID selector. So for that, let's go to the CSS. Let's select that section using ID selector. And let's try to add some properties. As I have mentioned, width should be 100%. By default, anyways, it will be 100%, but still I am mentioning it. And here I will be taking height as 100 VH. VH means viewport height. So I'm saying that I want this complete height for my section. Whatever viewport is visible to us, that entire height I want. And just for our confirmation whether it is working or not, let's add one background color. I will add it like a red. Now save it. Let's check whether background color will be applied or not. If I refresh, I got that background color. But if you see, on the top, there is some space. On the left, there is some space. On the right, there is some space. And if I go on the bottom also, you will see that there is some space. So by default, you are finding some space on the top, in the bottom, in the left, in the right. Now that space is because of this body element. That space is because of this body element. So by default, your browser is going to add some margin to this body. By default, your browser is going to add some margin to this body. So that margin I want to remove. So for that, let's go to the CSS. Let's select body. And let's add a property called margin 0 pixel. The moment I make margin 0 pixel, go back to the browser, and if I refresh, you will see that space is removed. So how your browser is adding some default margin to this body element, in the same way, there are some more elements, like we have heading element, we have paragraph elements. For those elements also, some margin is added by default. Who will add that margin by default? Your browser will add. So what I want whatever elements I have in HTML, by default, all the elements margin I want 0. I don't want any default margin or padding for my any one of the element. So how to tell to the browser, don't add any margin, don't add any padding? For that, instead of selecting body element, we can select all the HTML elements at a time. So for that, we are going to use universal selector. So here, this asterisk represent universal selector. Universal selector means in this HTML file, whatever elements you will take, select all the elements. And to all those elements, this property will be applied. Not only this, I want to apply padding also. Padding 0 pixel. And box sizing, I will say border box. So these three properties will be applied to each and every element that I will be using in this document. Now go back here. You won't find any difference right now. Okay. Now instead of red, if you want, you can give background color as a black also. Whatever color you want, you can give. Like this. But instead of assigning a background color as a black or red, I want to assign one background color. I want to assign one image as a background. So here, if you see in this Netflix, in the background, there is one image. That image I want to apply as a background. So how to apply any image as a background? For that, let's remove this background color property and let's add a property called background. And to this background property, I am going to assign linear gradient as a function and one more function called URL. Now, what is the use of linear gradient? I will explain. Okay, before that, let me remove this linear gradient. Let me apply only URL. So what is this URL? URL is a function. What is the use of this function? Using this function, we can assign any image as a background to this particular section. Using this function, we can assign any image as a background to this particular element. So which image you want to assign as a background, that image you have to pass as a URL to this function. You have to pass that URL as a first argument to this function. So here I have one image. So this is the image which I want to apply. So I will just copy this URL, go back and paste here. Now, if you want this URL, what you can do, you can simply search in the browser Netflix background image. You will get so many images on the internet. You can pick any image that you like. I'm applying it. Now let's go back to our browser. Let's refresh. Now we got here one background image. Now on this image, on the top of this image, I want a black color shadow. I want the shadow of a black color. I want a black color shadow on the top of this image. So how to get that black color shadow on the top of this image? For that, we have multiple ways. One of the way is, before this URL function, you can call linear gradient function. Linear gradient function. And here you can mention your colors. Like I'm going with RGBA. I'm mentioning some color here. So I'm making a black color, black transparent color. So like this, I will add 2 times. If you want, you can apply this color in 45 degrees also. So here I can mention the degree value also. 45 degree. So I'm saying that this color, the combination of RGBA should be applied in the 45 degrees. So if I go back here and if I refresh, so let's see here, it is not applied. If anything is going wrong. Okay, let me just remove this part. Let's take linear gradient. Let's make RGBA 0, 0, 0.7. And let's add one more RGBA 0.7. So if I save it and if I go back here and if I refresh, it looks like this. After this, I want one image. So URL, and here we can add our image. So let's grab that image URL. Let's paste here. Now if I go back and if I refresh, now here we got something like this. So maybe something is going wrong here. So linear gradient we have applied, this outline. Okay, let me add some more properties here. Background size, let me make it 100%, or we can say 100%, 100%, and background position, we will make center. Or else background size, we can make it cover also. Okay, let's try. Let's go back here. Let's refresh. So here background image is not displayed. Background repeat. No repeat, we will say. Save it. Go back. Refresh. So here we are not getting yet. Spelling is right. RGB. Yeah, I forgot one thing, guys. Here I should add comma. Okay. So after this linear gradient, I am using URL function, right? I should add here comma. Now if I go back here and if I refresh, now we should get. Here we are getting this one. So what is the mistake I was doing? Here I forgot the comma. So the syntax will be like this. We have to use background property. And to this, we have to assign two functions, linear gradient. This is the first function we have to assign. And then here we have to add comma. Here we have to add comma. And then URL function. We have to assign URL function. So I was missing this particular comma. That's why I was getting the issue. Now we got a background image, and on the top of that image, we are able to get a black color shadow. So if I want, I can apply that black color shadow in 45 degrees also. So if I save it, and if I go back here, and if I refresh, now it will be like this. So however you want, you can apply it. So now to this particular section, we are able to add one background image. So I have taken a browser. In my browser, nothing but in my web page, I am displaying one section. This one is your section tag. And to that section tag, I am assigning some properties. I'm assigning some properties like width, height, and background properties. Just have a look on this, guys. Width, height, and some background properties. Is it clear? Have you guys understood how to assign a background image to your particular section? So in HTML, I have simply taken one section tag. I have assigned one ID to it. I am selecting this section tag in my CSS file using ID selector. Assigning width property, height property, and some background property. So background size, I want my image should cover entire screen. Background position, I want my image should be placed exactly in the center, and background repeat means I don't want to repeat my background. Okay, that is image quality, guys. That is image quality. Okay, so I want that background, on that background image, I want a black color shadow. Why I want black color shadow means when I display this content should be highlighted. If this content is not highlighted, in that case, I mean, if you don't add that background shadow, then this content will not be highlighted. That is the reason I am adding a background shadow on the top of my image. Now, what we are going to do, this section, we are going to divide into two parts. Now, let's assume that this is our section tag. This is our section element. Now, this section element, I want to divide into two sections. So the first section, I will call it as a header section. Second section, I will call it as a main section. So this, our section, I want to divide into further two sections. This I will be calling it as a header section. This part I will be calling as a main section. This is our header section and this is our main section. And to this header section, I want to assign height property. I want to assign height property as 15%. And for this main section, I want to assign height property with the value 85%. So this entire section is 100%. Now that 100% I want to divide into two sections like 15% and 85%. So for that, let's go to our HTML file. Inside this, I want two sections. So first I will take header section and then I will take main section. Now to this header section, I can assign one ID as a header. For this main section, I will assign one ID as a main section. Now let's assign some height to this header and main. So let's go back here. Let's select our header. To this header, I will assign height as a 15%. And to visualize that, I will add one background color, something called red. I will select my main section. For this also, I will add height, something like 85%. And background color, I will make it something like blue. Now let's go back to the browser and let's refresh it. If I refresh it, now if you see that your entire section is divided into two subsection, header section, and we got here main section. Now in this header section, here I want to display logo. On the left side, I want to display Netflix logo. And on the right side, I want to display two buttons. Here I want to display two buttons. This is my requirement. So I want one logo. For displaying logo, we will take image tag. And to display these two buttons, we will take button tag. So let's try to create that. Now let me remove this background color. Let me keep blue as it is right now. Later on, we will remove. If I go back here, if I refresh, we got like this. Now my requirement is here I want one logo, this logo, Netflix logo, and two buttons here on the right side. So let's create this image and two buttons first. So in our HTML file, in our header section, now let's focus on header section. In this header section, I want one image. So let me take one image with some width, with some height. And here I need one logo. So for that logo, I have here one image. This is the logo I want to display. So I will select this. I will go back here and I will paste it. And after that, I want two buttons here. I want two buttons. Okay. So let's see how to get that buttons. To get that buttons after this image, I will take one div. In that div, I will assign that two buttons. I am assigning two buttons. On my first button, I can give some name, or let's see here what we have to add. On first button, we want English, and second button sign in. So let's add here English and sign in. English and one more sign in. So here we got sign in. Let's add one space and let's make it capital. And for this image also, let's add width as 150 pixel, height as 50 pixel. If I go back here and if I refresh, it looks something like this. We got here this image. Okay, so that image took some time to load. Now that image is loading. Here we have two buttons. Now to these buttons, if you want, you can add some kind of styles. To those buttons, we can add some kind of styles. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's add some styles to our button. So for this, I will go to my CSS. Inside this header, whatever button I have, to those buttons, I want to add some common styles. Like I want to add padding. So from top and bottom 9 pixel, and from left and right, I will add 21 pixel. If I save it and if I go back here and if I refresh, it will be like this. I got something like this. Now for this buttons, I want to remove the background color. So background, I will make it none. And let me change the color of the content as a white. color of the content as a white. And let me remove the border as well. Border also, let me make it none. So if I save it, go back here, and if I refresh, it looks like this now. Okay. So let me add some border I have removed, guys. If I don't remove border, it looks like this. It looks like this. So I want to add other borders here. Right now, I want to remove it. So I will just remove it. Border I am removing. Let's select this second button. How to select this second button? I want to select this second button. So to select this second button, you can assign here some ID. You can say sign in. Here also I can add some ID, something called English. Now we can select this both the buttons. First, I will select the hash sign in. And to this button, I want to assign background color as a red. If I go back here and if I refresh, I will get here background color as a red. So let me just select sign in. So we have selected ID, sign in, background color red. So anybody can say why this background color is not applied here? Can you guess, guys? See here, I am applying background color to it. But here background color is not applied. I want some background color for this sign in button. I am selecting sign in. Here I have added this button. Can you guess why that background color is not applied? See, here I am adding one ID to this button and I am selecting here that button and I am assigning some background color to it. But background color is not applied right now. Why? Any guess? Here I want some background color. Okay. So just for temporary purpose, I will add here border as 2 pixels solid white I will add. Now if I go back here, you will be able to see the buttons. Now to this button, I want to assign some background color. Here I have made background none, right? If I comment this and if I go back here and if I refresh, see here I got background color. Now here if I uncomment it and if I go back here and if I refresh, here I got like this. But I want here background color. So can we do like this? Instead of going with the ID selector, can we select our header in that div and to this div, in that div we will select the button. In that div we will select the button which should be the last child. And if I apply background color as a red and if I refresh, I got it. See now, here I am using which selector? Here I am using descendant selector. Up to here, I am using descendant selector. After that, I am using here pseudo selector. It is working. But if I use ID selector, hash sign in. Here I have given the ID, right? I am selecting this ID. I will copy this. I will go back here and I will paste it. Now I am applying background color red. Now if I go back here and if I refresh, now I am not getting background. Why? Because when you are making it background none, you are using here descendant selector. Now to add some background color to it, now if I use here descendant selector, Now my CSS is applied. But if I go with ID selector, I am not getting. So if I go back here, now if I refresh, I will get that red color. Okay, so make sure you are very careful with the selectors concept, guys. It's one of the very important topic in CSS. So you have ID selector, you have tag selector, you have class selector, you have descendant selector, you have child selector, you have pseudo selectors, you have attribute selectors, you have sibling, adjacent sibling, general sibling selectors. So you have to master all these selectors and you have to make sure that how selectors are going to work. So it's one of the very important topic when it comes to CSS, selectors in CSS. Just now you have seen, I'm using ID selector. My CSS is not applied. But if I am using this descendant selector, it is applied. If I don't make background none, and if I use ID selector, I am getting red color. But if I use here background none, and after that, if I am using ID selector, I am not getting the result that I want. That's why you have to be very careful with the selectors topic. So if you are not good with the selectors topic, make sure you are working on that and you are making yourself very strong with that topic. So now I got here background color. Now in the same way, I want to select my first button also. Now how to select the first button? For that, we are going to use same concept. Hash header. In that whatever div I have, in that div whatever button I have, and in that I want the first button. Nothing but first child. And to this first child, I just want to assign border property. I will remove border property from here and I will add here. Border, maybe something like 1 pixel, solid, white I will give. Now if I go back here and if I refresh, I got something like this. And this border I want to remove from here. So border, none we can assign. We got something like this now. Now here after this English, I want here one icon. Here I want one icon. See, after this word English, I want one icon here. Now how to get this icon? For that, we can go to the Bootstrap website, go to the Get Bootstrap website, click on Icons tab, click on this icons link, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. Scroll down, you will get here CDN link. You have to first integrate that CDN link with your HTML document. Go to the bottom. Here you will get one title called CDN link. Copy this link tag. Here you will have this link tag. You can copy this link tag or else you can copy this part and add in your CSS file. Anything will work. I'm copying this link tag. Go back to your HTML file and inside your head section, add it. Now, why we are adding this link tag means we can use some icons from this getbootstrap.com website. So from this Bootstrap website, they are providing some icons. If you want to use these icons, then you have to link their CSS file with our HTML document. So now on the top, you will find one search button here. And we can search something for down arrow. If I search for down arrow, something I will get like this. Okay. So for our example, I want to take this one. I will click on this. I will copy this. Let's go back here. After this English word, I want to add that. I want to add. So if I go back and refresh here, I will get that link. Or you can get drop down button also. That arrow also you will get. Drop down button if you search, arrow if you search, you will get it. So right now I am keeping this one. Okay. Understood, guys, up to here? Maybe here, if you want, you can generate some space in between this word and that icon. Here I will NBSP so that some space will be generated. So if I go back here, if you see right now, we don't have any space. If I say some space will be generated. Here also, before English also, if you want to add any icon, we can add. So I will just go back. I will try to add some icon. Maybe I will try this one. We can copy, or else we can search any other icons also. Now here we can search for some icon. Okay, I will try to add this icon. Activity icon. Copy this. Go back here. Before this English word, let's add that icon. And here also let's generate some space. Okay, your wish. You can add any icon that you want. I'm just trying to keep little bit different. So here if I go and if I refresh, I will get here some icon. Now my requirement is these two buttons. These two buttons I want to display on the right side. Here on the right side. If you see right now we have like this situation. Let's assume that this is our header section. In this header section, we are displaying one image here. And after that, we are displaying one div. We are displaying one div. We are displaying one div. And inside that div, you have two buttons. Inside that div, you have two buttons. You have two buttons. Like this, you have two buttons. So now my requirement is somehow this div, I want to move on the right side. This div, I want to move on the right side. So this image and this div, I want to keep in the same line. I want to place in the same line. So they are displaying one after another. I don't want to display one after another. I want they should display one beside another. So if you want to display one beside another, then this header div. Now this header div, you have to make as a flex container. You have to convert it as a flex container. If you convert this header div as a flex container, then the direct child of that flex container will display one beside another. So here if you see inside our header element, we have this image element, we have one div element. Right now they are displaying one after another, but I want they should display one beside another. So to make them display one beside another, you have to make this header as a flex container. How to make this header as a flex container? Go to that header. This is our header and simply add here display flex. The moment you add display flex, they will display one beside another. If I save it, if I go back here, let me remove this. If I go back here, now see right now, they are one after another. If I refresh, they will display one beside another. They will display one beside another. But I want these two buttons should display on the right side. And this logo should be on the left side. So for that, we can use one more property called justify content, and whose value will be space between. So we are going to create a space between that image and the div. So if I go back here, if I refresh, I will get this. So image is on the left side and that both the buttons are on the right side. Now I want this image should display in this center when it comes to vertical direction. In this vertical direction, I want this image should display in the center. These two buttons also, they are displaying on the top. I don't want to display on the top. I want to display exactly in the center of my header section. So for that, we can use align items, center. Now, if you guys are aware of flex concept, then you will be able to connect. You will be able to connect. If you are not aware of flex concept, then you will get confused. So right now, if you don't know flex concept, just blindly remember that. If I use flex concept, then I can bring my image and div one beside another. I can generate some space between them. I can align vertically in the center also. All these things I can do with the flex concept. If I go back here and if I refresh, now see, logo and that button will display in the center. See, they are displaying in the center. but I don't want to display exactly on the left. I just want to move this element little bit this side. I want to move little bit right side. And these two buttons, I want to move little bit left side. So for that, we can select that image. So inside this header, whatever image I have, I will select that image, and to that image, I will assign position as a relative. And I want to move towards right, means I want to move away from left. So I will use left and I will assign some value here. Maybe something like 50 pixel, I will say. If I go back here and if I refresh, now it will move little bit. See, we got some space. If you want more space like this, if you want more space, assign more value. Like maybe I will try 150 pixel. If I go back here and if I refresh, I got something here. So depending upon your requirement, you can give some value to it. Some value to it. Got it, guys? How I am able to move this logo from left towards right little bit by using the position concept in the CSS. Same thing I will do for this div also. So inside my header, whatever div I have, to that div also, I will apply position relative, but I will say right now. Right. And I will give some value, like I'm giving here something like 50 pixel. I'm assigning here something like 50 pixel. So if I save it and go back here, and if I refresh, see it is moving little bit. Maybe I can increase the value. Maybe I can make it 90. If I refresh, I will get something here. For this also, instead of 150, let's make 90 only. So it looks like this. So we got something here. Now between these two buttons, I want to generate some space. So here I can give margin left and I will assign some value like 30 pixel. If I say, some space will be generated. See, this space is generated. But if you see this space is little, I want just little space I want. I don't want this much space. So we can decrease the value. So maybe here I can give 10 pixel. If I give 10 pixel, let's see how much space it will generate. This much space it is generated. Now this border little bit curve I want to make. This border, if you see, this corners I want to curve. So for that, we can use border radius and maybe I will give 4 pixel. If I refresh, I got little bit curve. Here if you see, we got little bit curve now. This font size I want to increase. For this icon, little bit font size I want to increase. If you see, not for this icon, maybe this icon. For this icon, I want to increase the font size. So let's go to that I tag. So inside this first button here, we have I tag, right? So let's add style and let's select font size and let's assign something like 13 pixel and let's see how it looks. So here it's not increasing. Maybe we can add more. 21 pixel if I say. Yes, we got like this. We can make it a little bit more. 25. If I refresh, I got like this. Or 21 only we will keep. And let's add here font weight. Bold we will add. So if I refresh, we got like this. Here I'm adding this. So here if you see, this button size is same, but our button size, this size is becoming more, right? Because of this font size only. So let me just remove this property right now. If I refresh how it looks like this. Can we add here font size? something like 13 pixel. Let's remove this bold also, because anyways it is bold only. If it doesn't looks good, we can change the icon. We are getting something like this. Here I have some different icon. That's might be arrow. Like here I'm searching some arrow. Let's try if we can get that icon. This one. So let's take this icon. Let's copy this and let's replace it. Now if I go back here, if I refresh, I got that icon. This icon looks better. In the same way, for drop down also, we can select here drop down icon. I can select for drop down. If I select drop down here, I'm getting any icons? No. Down. Yeah, here we got this icon. We can select this icon, down icon, any icon. Here we have selected this icon, right? So let's select this icon, create downfill. Copy this and paste here. Now if I go back here and if I refresh, that icon also replaced. Okay, so any icon, whatever icon you like, you can display that. So now see, we are able to create this header part. So here I am able to display logo and I am able to display two buttons now. Exactly, we got like this. Now here there is less space, and here if you see I have little bit more space. If I want, I can decrease that space. So here I'm assigning margin 5 pixel if I say, and if I refresh, that space will be decreased. Maybe 3 pixel if I add, it will be more decreased. So as per your requirement, you can decrease that space. So this header part is ready. Next, we have to build this part. Okay, so for this, what we are going to do now, we will, this header part is there, right? To this header part, I will add background color as a red, so that it looks like this. Now I will uncomment this part. Blue part I will uncomment. So it looks like this now. It looks like this now. After some time, we will remove this background color also. Now we will try to focus on this part, how to design this part, main section part. So to display this main section part, I will be using this title, this content, and one button and one input element. One input element. Okay. So for this, let's go to our main section. Now let's minimize this header section. Let's maximize this main section. Now inside this main section, I will take one H1. I will take two paragraphs. Paragraph 1, paragraph 2. So to display that heading, I am taking H1. To display this heading, I am taking H1. To display this two content, I am taking two paragraphs. And to create input box and button, for that, after this paragraph, I will take one div. Inside that, I will add input element and I will add one button. So what is the text we have on the button? Get started. And here for this input element, we can add placeholder as an email address. And for this button, get started, I will add. So if I go back here and if I have a look on this, it looks something like this. So we got text box, we got one button, and we want this content now. I will copy this content. So after the TV, I can add the break tag. So right now, if you see, everything will come in the one line. So here we have this. Okay, let me change the color of the main section. Here I will add color like white. So everything will be in the white. Now if you see, ultimated movies, TV, shows, and color. Everything is coming in one line. But after TV, I want one break. So for that, we can simply add here after TV break tag so that it will come in the next line. So we got like this next line. Now we can select this H1 and we can assign some styles. So inside the main, whatever H1 I have, to that H1, I want to apply some styles. Now what styles we can apply? We can increase the font size. We can increase the font size of that element. Okay, so how much font size we can give, guys? Any idea? How much font size we can give? Font size. Maybe can I try 42 pixel? If I refresh, I got like this. And let's add font weight also. Font weight equals to something like 700 we will add. We got like this. Afterwards, we want two paragraphs, right? So let's copy this paragraphs also. This I will add here. In the first paragraph. And I will copy the next content. This one. And I will add in the next paragraph. I'm adding here. I got two paragraphs as well. If I refresh, I got like this. Now my requirement is this content. I want exactly here in the center. Now this entire content, I want exactly here in the center. Center of this main section. In horizontal direction also, it should be in the center. In this vertical direction also, it should be in the center. So how to make exactly in the center of this main section? For that, to this main section, we can assign display property with the value flex. And we can use justify content as a center, align items as a center. So again, I am using flex concept to bring that entire content in the center of my main section. So if I refresh, it will come in the center. But you will see that this heading, this paragraphs, and this input and button, everything will display in one row only. Now see, they are displaying like this. So what I want to do here, flex direction, I want to make it column. I want to display them in the column direction. So if I refresh, I got like this. But see here, I'm not getting this exactly in the center. So how to bring this content in the center, guys? See, I'm doing the wrong. Okay. Here I should not apply. I should apply here in the main section. I'm applying on H1, not H1. I want to apply in the on the main section. So if I go back here, if I refresh, I'm getting like this. See, if I don't use this flex direction, you will see that everything will come in the one row. Everything is coming in the one row. They are displayed in the center, but they are displaying in the same row. I don't want to display like this in the same row. I want they should display one after another. So in that case, we can assign here flex direction as a column. Now they will display one after another. Now, if you want, you can increase the size. Here, instead of 42, I can make it 52 also. If I make it 52, it looks like this. Now you can give some styles. You can add some styles for your paragraph also. I will select hash main paragraph. I will select. So for both the paragraph, I want to apply some common styles. So common styles, what I will do for this, both the paragraphs. Here, what common styles we can add? Margin top we can add. Something like 13 pixel, I will say. Margin top, if I add 13 pixel, and if I go back here, and if I refresh, we will get some space. See, here we got some space now. Got it, guys? Here, see, we got some space here. Now you can select this button also, or maybe you can select this div also. In hash main, whatever div we have, to that div also we can assign margin top. Maybe I will assign 15 pixel. So if I refresh, I got something like this. Here we have little bit more space, right? Here we have some more space. We can reduce that space. So let's do one thing. In for first child, we will add here 8 pixel. And we will select this paragraph. In that whatever last child we have, for that we will try to assign 13 pixel. So here, if you see here for button also we have applied, right? First child and last child. Same thing I want to do here. Here first child and last child. In the same way for paragraph also I'm trying to do that. So if I refresh, I got here something like this. Let's see if anything is going wrong. So here there will be a problem. What is the problem means? Here we have this paragraph, right? And this paragraph is not considered as a first child. So here, instead of first and last child, I can go with nth child. Okay, I won't go with this first child. See, for this main, the first child is this H1. Second child is this paragraph. Third child is this paragraph. Fourth child is this div. So I cannot use first and last child here. So for this, I can use nth child. And I can say the child should be 2. And here also, I can select nth child. And I can say child should be third one. Now if I go back here and if I try to refresh, now I got this space. Now if I want, I can generate more space. Here I can add 17 pixel for third child. Like this I got. And here I can reduce some space. Here I can give 4 pixel. That space will be reduced. So we got something like this. Next, we can select our buttons. So in hash main, whatever div I have, in that div, whatever button I have, to that button, I can add some kind of styles. Okay, so I'm assigning background color as a red, color like white, color I will assign white. Apart from that, let's add padding. So from top bottom, I will add 14 pixel and from left right, I will add 25 pixel. Let's see how it looks. If I refresh, I got something like this. Border, I can make none. Border, I am making here none. And apart from that, what else we can add, guys? Font size we can increase 21 pixel, I will say. So if I go back here, if I refresh, I got something like this. Font size, we got here something like this. Background we have assigned. Border radius we will try to assign. Border radius, I will say 5 pixel. So we will get some border radius. And here we want some icon. See, here we have one icon. This icon I want. So we can get that icon again from the bootstrap. We can select some icon. Here, let's select some icon. Let's say arrow. You can select maybe this one. I will select, copy this, add in the button. Here I will add. So some space we will try to generate here, NBSP. And if I go back here and if I refresh, I got that button. Now for this input element also, we will try to add some styles. So here I will select hash main. In that div, in that whatever input element I have, to that input element, I want to apply some styles. So like first we will remove the, first we will add some border like 1 pixel solid, and let's add some transparent color like 255, 255, 255. It will create white and I want to make it transparent. So 0 point, maybe we will try to add 8. So if I go back here, I got here transparent color. And to this, we can assign some padding now. Something like 19 pixel and 24 pixel we will try to add. So if I save it, and if I go back here, and if I refresh, it looks like this. Okay, let's make background none. Background none. So it will be like this. Border radius, let's add some 5 pixel. Let's add margin. So for this, we will add margin left. Not for this, we will add margin left for the button. Margin left. And here we will try to give some value. How much value we can give means for this particular, maybe we can apply 13 pixel if I check how it looks. So we got some space here. And here if you see this padding also looks more, maybe I will make it 12 pixel. And if I go back here and if I refresh, it looks like this. And now for this input element, you can add the size attribute we can add. For input element, we will add size attribute and we will try to make it 40. And if I go back here and if I refresh, we got like this. 40 means slightly it is going there. Let me try to make it 35. So here see, if I refresh, I got here something like 35. Here I got something like 35. So here we got this space. Got it, guys? So we are able to create something like this. Here see the space is more. Let's add more space for second paragraph. Let's add 27. Okay, here if I go, if I refresh, more space is generated. 25 pixel space I have generated here. Now we can remove that background color red. Now if I refresh, it looks like this. This was and this is. Here font size, I mean font style we can change, guys, if you want. Okay, font family we can change. Okay, I'm adding my own font family now for main section. I will add font family. Okay, if I add cursive, I like this cursive. It looks like this. It looks something like this. Little bit different it looks. And we can make font weight bold for everything. So if I go back here and if I refresh, it looks like this. Okay, not like this. I just want to add my own style for this. So we can make like this, or else we can go with this standard font family. Like here we can select Arial, Helvetica, Sans Serif. Here, if I just refresh, I got something like this. So it looks like this. Now this, our size looks very big, and here the size looks little small. So I think for H1, how much we have given? 52 pixel, I think we have given. So let me make it 42 pixel. Size will be decreased. So it looks like this. And here font weight, we can remove this. So it looks like this. So we see, we are able to design it. So just using the flex concept, we are able to create this part. Understood, guys, this CSS part? So for our input element, we are assigning border, transparent border, white color transparent, padding, background we are removing, border radius we are adding 5 pixels. For button, background color red, color white, padding we are adding, border we are removing, font size we are adding, border radius we are adding, and margin left we are adding. For div, margin top, for second paragraph, margin top, for first paragraph, margin top. For H1, font size and font weight. And for main section, height, color, display, justify content, align items, font direction, and font family. In this way, we are able to add the styles. Okay, so we are able to create this part. So for this, if you want, you can add font weight also. You can make it bold little bit. So right now we did not made responsive. Right now we just created this part. You can make it responsive. How to make it responsive? Just add media queries. Then you can make it responsive. Media queries you have to add, you have to write the conditions now. Now, if you're accessing this page in mobile devices, then how you want your styles, you can add that. Okay, that you can take your assignment and you can work on that responsiveness also. Yeah, so that's all guys from my end for today's session. So next week, maybe on next to next Saturday, maybe on 12th, not 12th. Next Saturday means 17th or 18th. Maybe on 17th or 18th, we will come with another workshop. Okay, maybe something related to building only. I will come with another workshop, and in that I will try to add the JavaScript. So let's try to create add to cart and remove cart functionality using JavaScript. So how we can implement add to cart, remove cart functionality in e-commerce application. So we will try to create one small application. In that we will try to show all the products. We will have one link called cart, and we will have one button on each product called add to cart. If I click on add to cart, that product I want to add in my carts page. And if I click on remove button, that product I should be able to remove from the carts page. So that particular project, a small mini application, we will try to create on 17th or 18th of this month.